Hi, my name is Mark Fonville. I'm a regional director with Loring Ward. And when it comes to investing, expectations are everything. That's why in this Portfolio Analytics Center tutorial, you will learn how to set proper expectations with your clients when it comes to investing in stocks. As I'm sure you've noticed with your clients over the years, clients often lack proper expectations when investing that can hinder their ability to stay invested for the long term. So this tutorial will help you address that issue. Specifically, you're going to learn how to help clients understand best, average, and worst case return scenarios over different time frames for U.S. large company returns since 1972. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is create a custom portfolio of 100% U.S. large company stocks. Off to your left, there's a tab that says Manage Portfolio, and that's where we will begin with your custom portfolio. So for starters, your screen is going to populate with a default allocation. You're going to want to clear that allocation by clicking on the orange icon and then click Yes. Next, continue scrolling down and you'll see a drop-down menu. We're going to want to find U.S. large company stocks or U.S. large neutral stocks. I'm going to hit enter. It's been added to the list here, and then I'm going to allocate 100% for this particular portfolio. And I want to save it as a permanent portfolio to the Analytics Center. So I'm going to scroll up, click on the orange icon that says Save Portfolio As, and I'm going to name it U.S. Large Companies, and click Save. Now we've saved the portfolio to the system. The next step is to click on the Scenario Inputs tab, and we're going to go ahead and populate this with information for this particular scenario. Today's date will pre-populate. For investment amount, we'll go ahead and start with a $500,000 portfolio. If I can get it there. Annual distribution, you can disregard that for this scenario. Fee adjustment, I like to use 2% or less just to adjust for all fees. And then custom period, and in this example, we're going to use the full period from 1972 to 2016. And finally, we need to select our new custom portfolio of 100% U.S. large companies, which is now populated into the asset class mix drop-down menu. You'll notice the chart to the right updates automatically as we input the information. I'm going to go ahead and save this entire scenario so I don't have to repeat this for future clients. And I'm going to name it Market Expectations. Okay, now that we've got all of our information input to the system, I'm going to go ahead and minimize the tabs to the left so we can see the larger screen. Go ahead and scroll down until you see the different reports. And the report that we're going to look at for this particular example is the best and worst case returns. What you're looking at is a bar chart that illustrates best, average, and worst case return scenarios for U.S. large company stocks since 1972 over 1, 3, 5, 10, and 20-year periods. And so to begin, I recommend just talking your client through what they're actually seeing in front of them. So for example, the worst one-year return in this particular example is 35.77% after fees. The average one-year return for U.S. large companies after fees is 9.77%, and the worst one-year return is negative 39.6%. Now, please note what I'm showing you will change over time, but for this tutorial, the numbers are as you see it. So that's just for one-year returns. The next column illustrates the same thing, but for 3 years. So for example, this is the best 3-year annualized return since 1972 for U.S. large companies, at 28.86%. The average 3-year return, annualized return, is 8.93%. And then the worst annualized 3-year return is negative 16.17%. The same is going to be true for 5-year, 10-year, and 20-year returns. At this point, you want to make sure that your client understands what they're seeing in front of them. And then I want you to ask your client this question: what interests you most about the data in front of you? Now, there might be a bit of silence for the next 30 or 60 seconds as your client begins to digest the information. But essentially, after some time, you want your client to see 4 key insights. And if they don't see them, walk them through the following. Again, these numbers may change when you run your own analysis in the future. The first point you want to make with your client is that the worst 1-year return is pretty bad. After all, it would feel pretty terrible to see your portfolio decline nearly 40% in a single year. So you want to make sure clients understand that declines in markets can be pretty substantial. The second point you want to make is that the longer you stay invested, the better off your worst case scenario. So you'll notice in these worst case scenarios, the longer you stay invested, the worst case scenario return improves. The third thing you want to talk to your clients about, if they don't see it on their own, is that long-term can feel a lot longer than they might like. For example, notice how the worst 10-year return for U.S. companies is still negative, at negative 3.14%. That's a really long time. And it's really important that your clients understand that long-term can mean a lot longer than 2 or 3 or 4 years. And then finally, I want you to make sure that your client understands that over the 20-year time frame, or at least over the worst 20-year time frame, the worst case scenario since 1972, in short, is still positive. This conversation and illustration will help your clients gain better expectations on how markets act over time and potentially what to expect going forward. If you have any questions about using the tool, please contact your portfolio strategy team or your regional director at Loring Wood. Thank you for watching.